I said to Vladimir Putin, I said, don't do it. You can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad day. You cannot do it. I told him things that what I do, and he said, no way. And I said, way. And it's the last time we ever had the conversation.
Attack illustrates a lot of opposition to people just hearing what President Trump has to say. I'm honored to have this conversation. I want to emphasize it's a conversation.
He's making a speech and there will be no tax on tips. I said that months ago. And by the way, they had just the opposite. They had not only tax on tips, but they hired 88,000 IRS agents, and many of them were assigned to go get waitresses and caddies and all of this on tips. See, they had a policy that they were really going to go after you. We're really harassing people horribly. And then all of a sudden, for politics, she comes out with what I said, which I think is terrible. And I think it's also hitting them very hard. These people are fake, and our police are so good, but they're not allowed to do their job. But I have to tell you, Elon, I hate to say it because it's such a downer to say it. I hate to say it. I hate it. But you have a lot of people that just shouldn't be. I think it's a much bigger number than you think. They're allowing, again, they're allowing people from their jails. And if you were running one of these countries where they're coming from, you would have had all of them. As an example, Venezuela, their crime is down 72%. They're taking their drug dealers. They're taking, frankly, their prisoners. They're emptying out their prisons, delivering them into.
But that's what Castro did.
Yeah, well, he did on a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
It was a much smaller scale. But this is a massive scale because this is being done worldwide. But here's what's happening: crime all over the world is down. And wait till you see the numbers that we have. This is migrant crime. These are rough people. These are people that are in jail for murder and all sorts of things. And they're releasing them into our country. And they're telling them, if you come back, we're going to kill you. We're going to give you the death penalty or kill you. So they don't want to come back. But these are rough people.
Yeah.
These are criminals that make our criminals look like nice people. There's never been a country in history that has had a catastrophe like this. You believe this too. You hear 12 million, 13. I believe it's over 20 million people came into our country, many coming from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions, or a bigger version of that is insane asylums. Many are terrorists. And I'll tell you what, they're coming not just from South America, they're coming from Africa, they're coming from all over the world. They're coming from Asia, they're coming from the Middle East, they're coming from countries that are stupidly and horribly bombing Israel October 7th. They're coming from all over the world. It's so sad, October 7th, because it should have never happened.
Yeah.
It's so sad when you look at Ukraine. It should have never happened. We have a defective government. These are defective people, and they're not people that should be running it. But where you see it the best is the border. You have millions of people coming in a month. Then she gets up and she tries to pretend like she's going to do something. She had 3.5 years. And by the way, they have another 5 months that they can do something, but they won't do anything. It's all talk. She's incompetent and he's incompetent. And frankly, I think that she's more incompetent than he is. And that's saying something because he's not too good.
I think people underrate the risk of World War III. Looking at the risk of global thermonuclear warfare, it's game over for humanity. After the end of the Cold War, people have become complacent about, but they actually have forgotten that there are currently a lot of nuclear missiles that have targeting parameters for the United States from
100%.
other countries.
And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to build an Iron Dome over us. Israel has it. We're going to have the best Iron Dome in the world. We need it. And we're going to make it all in the United States. We're going to have protection because it just takes one maniac to, start something. We're going to have protection. Why shouldn't we have an Iron Dome? Israel has one. Some other places have one that nobody even knows about, frankly. We're going to have an Iron Dome. I always say that we have enemies on the outside and we have enemies on the inside. We have some really bad people in our government, people that are, and controlling of the people. I mean, I'd mention names, but I really don't want to give them the credit. And I say they're more dangerous than Russia and China. If you have a smart president, a president that gets it, we are not in danger from those countries because they need us and they need our help. If you think about it, Obama and Biden, and Bush to a certain extent, in all fairness, forced Russia and China together. And if you're a history student, the first thing you learn is you cannot let Russia and China align. If you take a look, Iran, and they have North Korea. They call it the axis of evil. In the old days, you had the axis of evil. Here we have a modern day axis of evil. These are powerful countries, very heavy nuclear, which is the biggest threat.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest threat is not global warming, where the ocean's going to rise one eighth of an inch over the next 400 years. You'll have more oceanfront property, right? The biggest threat is not that. The biggest threat is nuclear warming, because we have 5 countries
Well,
now that
yeah.
have significant nuclear power. We have to not allow anything to happen with stupid people like Biden. We have to bring energy
Yeah.
prices down. Energy started it. The price of gasoline. Now, your cars don't require too much gasoline, so you know and you do make a great product. I have to say, I have to be honest with you.
Thank
That
you.
doesn't mean everybody should have an electric car, but these are minor details. But your product is incredible. But the
Thank you.
gasoline, Elon, is the cost of energy. Not only gasoline, it's the cost of heating your house and cooling your house. That has
Sure.
to come down. It's gone up 100%, 150, and 200%. That has to come down. When that comes down, and we're going to
Yeah.
drill, baby, drill. You know, they stopped drilling, and then they went back to drilling because they went back to the Trump policy. But if they won the day after they get into office, this country will go out of business, because they're going to go to an energy policy that's not sustainable, wind and different things. I know you're a big fan of the AI, and I have to say
Yeah.
that AI, and this is shocking to me, but AI requires twice the energy that the country already produces for everything. We're going to have to build a lot of energy if our country will be competitive with China, because that's our primary competitor for this on the AI. You're
Sure.
going to need a lot of
Well, I mean,
electricity. You're going to need tremendous
yeah.
electricity, like almost double what we produce now for the whole country, if you can believe it.
I mean, he's clearly like, we just don't have a president right
You
now.
don't
That's
have a
just obviously the
president, and
case.
she's going to be worse than him, because she is a San Francisco liberal who destroyed San Francisco, and then as Attorney General, she destroyed California. You talk about location, and we're talking about the sun and the water and all. There's nothing better than California. She has destroyed that. She was the original DA. She was the original in San Francisco. She was the original Attorney General in California. Well, you know better than I do. You just left California for a lot of those reasons. And what she's done with crime, with cashless bail, states now you kill somebody and they let you out right away. I mean, you don't have to even put up, and then they never find the people unless they kill again, and then they let them out again. Our
Yeah.
country is becoming a very dangerous place. And she is a radical left San Francisco liberal. Now she's looking like she wants to be more Trump than Trump.
Saved your life, really.
If you
was
want to
the
really
legal
see something
immigration
that said,
slide.
take a look
Maybe
what
this,
happened.
maybe this is worth talking about that.
It was
that slide. That slide saved
You're
your
right.
life.
No, the illegal immigration saved my life. You're right, but it was,
Basically.
and I had to be at that exact angle.
I mean, that's a great one. saved by illegal
You know,
immigration.
the
That's
incredible
sad.
thing, though, when you talk about the odds, one of the miracles was that nobody ran. I mean, when guns go off, and it does happen in stadiums at a soccer match or some kind of a match, everybody flees. They call it a stampede, like cattle. But everybody, and a lot of
Yeah.
people get killed with those stampedes. We had
Sure.
more people than you'd have at, some of these matches or these games, and nobody left. You know, you had a small group behind us in the grandstand, and that was full. And you look at it as it was taking place, and normally they'd be running. They didn't leave. They saw a lot of blood, and they saw that I went down. It's almost like they wanted to be with me. Well, out front, you had tens of thousands of people. As far as the eye could see, you had people in Butler, as far as the eye could see,
Yeah.
and a lot of press too. There were, many cameras on watching this. It's what makes it so different, because normally things happen that aren't good, but you never have a picture of it. Here we have all these cameras shooting it. So, sort of amazing. But one of the interesting things was that you didn't have anybody flee. You didn't have anybody stampede.
Sure.
Nobody. And there were some people behind me. They stood up and they're looking like, I mean, I'll tell you, you want to have them in a foxhole with you. I want to meet some of those people.
What were you about to say about illegal immigration before you were rudely interrupted with
Well,
a
I was
bullet?
going to say how good the numbers were. By the way, we're going back to Butler. We're going to go
Great.
back in October. We're all set up, and the people are fantastic in Butler. These are incredible people. Like the 3 that, in the case of Corey, killed, and the other 2, the families I got to know them a little bit, and the families are great. But we're going back to Butler. I think I'll probably start by saying, as I was saying,
As you
prior
were
to
saying,
being so horribly
so,
interrupted.
yeah,
But
yeah. So rudely interrupted by an
yeah,
assassination
so
attempt. But he totally would have hit if you hadn't turned your head. So, like, there was it was a very near thing.
It was a
So,
miracle. If I hadn't turned my head,
yeah,
I would not be talking to you right now. As much as I like you,
exactly.
I would not.
Yeah,
I would
well,
not be talking to you.
maybe talking to me from another realm, perhaps.
Yeah, that's right. We'd be talking from a
So,
different place. It was a very terrible experience. The Butler Hospital, they did such a great job. The doctors were so good. Everybody was so good.
You can't fake bravery under such circumstances. The courage is instinctual or it is not. It's not a rehearsed action. And so I just want to say that I think a lot of people admire your courage under fire there.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I didn't think of it. I just wanted to get up. When they were on top of me, covering me, actually, very much covering me and very bravely. But I wanted to get up. I said, I want to get up. They have everything there. They wanted stretcher. I didn't like the stretcher. And I knew I was hit in the ear, but I knew I wasn't hit anywhere else. They felt I was hit someplace else because it was such a lot of blood. And they were sure that I was hit someplace else, saying, sir, you were hit more than the ear. I said, nope, I was hit in the ear. I want to get up. Let me get up. So I got up. The crowd didn't know what to think. I mean, this was so many people. You could see they were confused. They didn't know what to think. I wanted to let them know I was okay. It was very important for me to let them know that. And they went wild. You've seen the after. They didn't go wild when I got up because they didn't know, was I alive? You really couldn't tell. When I stood up before the hand, before the fist in the air, they didn't know if I was alive. Nobody did. When I put the fist up, they were just relieved and happy and thrilled, and the place went crazy. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It was a terrible thing, but it was
incredibly moving. Yeah.